Hello everyone, it's Tana and welcome back to my channel. Today we're using the Merry and Bright stamp set from the latest release, and we're going to do lined versus no line coloring. So I have one stamped out with VersaFine Onyx Black ink on craft and one stamped out with no line coloring ink. I believe it's by Honeybee, but I'll put it in the description box below for you guys. And these are like an Amazon version. They're not from Amazon, but I found them on Amazon. They're like a cheaper version of Polychromos colored pencils. So I'm not using my Prismacolors. I'm using my version of Polychromos, and I'm still learning how to use them. Totally different coloring with these than it is coloring with the Prismacolor. So, bear with me. Trial and error. But I'm just going to show you guys how I color one poinsettia on the lined, one poinsettia on the no line, vice versa, with the leaves, the berries, etc. So, and I really can't tell you the colors that I used, because unless you have these specific colored pencils, it's not going to make any sense to you whatsoever. These ones actually have some funny colors, like golf course green. There's some really funny ones in there, though. I'd have to go back and look at them. And yeah, not your traditional color names. And I can't even pronounce the name brand of the colored pencils, but I will see if I can find a link for them on Amazon in case anybody's interested. I do like them so far. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means on any type of colored pencil. The only issue I have, and it's probably just the way I sharpen pencils, is it seems like every time I sharpen, the tip falls out. But that happens to me with my Prismacolor also, so I don't know. So I just have 3 different shades of red, and I'm going back and forth, and I'm laying down my darkest first, and then my medium color, then my lightest, and then I'm going back in specifically on the no line panel with my darker color and doing some outlining, trying to define some of those flower petals and the tips of the flower petals and so on and so forth. Not too much, but just trying to give it some dimension, since there's no actual lines no line definition that you can see. So now I'm going to go in and do I think of them as holly leaves. I always have. I don't know if that's what they are, but I think of them as the pointy ones as holly leaves. And the same thing. Darkest color green down first, medium color after that, and then the lightest color on top. And with the no lined, I'm going back in to try and define the leaf shape. So I've skipped quite far ahead, as you can see. We have 3 poinsettias colored on each panel already. I was going to put music in this video, but I didn't think you guys would be too interested in listening to music while I colored. Excuse me. I will say that the coloring is almost done. I really love this wreath. I don't think I have any other Christmas wreaths in my collection. So, and I'm doing a D-stash soon, and I don't remember even seeing any when I went through to pull out stamps to put in the D-stash. So, I think this will come in handy for me for holiday cards. It's got 2 sentiments with it. One says Merry and Bright, I believe, and the other one says Joy. I stamped out both later on in the video, but I only ended up using, I believe, Merry and Bright on both cards. So, I didn't realize I spent so much time on my holly leaves. For me, that's the problem with videos where there's a lot of coloring, because you never know who's going to be interested in seeing the process and who isn't, especially with something like Polychromos or their equivalent, or regular colored pencils. I'm by no means an expert, like I said, so who wants to sit here and watch me color 2 entire panels with colored pencils? So I've skipped ahead and finished the wreaths for you guys, and now I'm going in with a white colored pencil, and I'm doing just some highlighting around the tips of the leaves, sometimes down the center of the the petal. I did a little bit with the holly leaves. The berries really were just too small to do any type of highlighting on. I apologize profusely for the background noise. They have ripped up our entire road for about a mile in either direction, and we live on a highway. I turned off the fans. I shut the windows except for the one where the window fan is permanently in there for the summer, and I just can't seem to keep the noise down. So every time a car goes by, it's especially loud. So now that I have my wreaths all fussy cut out, I'm taking a wood grain panel die from my stash and cutting out all these little wood grain panels, and I'm inking them up with the Catherine Puller inks I put on the screen for you guys. I wanted them to look like door panels, so that's what I was going for. I also inked up the background panels that I'm going to adhere the wood grain panels to. So I'm just picking out, I didn't want too many dark panels together and whatnot, so you might see me toss a few to the side there for the second panel. And now I have my little, I don't know if it looks like a door so much as maybe a barn wall, outside wall or something, but it still looks the way I wanted it to for the most part. So we have both of our wreaths all there ready and ready to adhere to the front. And I'm using one dark green card base and one deep red card base. And then I'm doing the same thing with the sentiment strips. One dark green and one red. And, using my cottontail powder tool before I heat emboss, and I'm using my Nuvo watermark ink pad and some Simon Says Stamp ultrafine gold embossing powder. And I did do both sentiments for each card that came in the little stamp set, but like I said, I went with Merry and Bright for both of them. So I'm going to adhere the wood grain panels to the card base with some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. Now I have been using Bearly Arts glue a lot lately as well. I love both, but Nuvo seems to dry just a little bit quicker. So there's the second panel there. And I popped the both wreaths, is it wreaths or wreaths? Guys, let me know in the comments below. Up with little foam tape circles. And now I'm putting some Bearly Arts glue on top of the foam circles, so I can kind of maneuver it to make sure it's where I want it to go before it dries. And then after we do that, we're going to adhere our sentiment strips. And I cut them very skinny. I didn't want any extra green showing around the sentiment strip. I just wanted it as close to the sentiment as possible. Very simple. And I used my T-square ruler to make sure those were straight on the front of both card panels. And that's it for today's video, guys. Don't forget to check out the Rabbit Hole Designs fan page on Facebook, and also the Rabbit Hole Designs on Instagram, along with all the DT's inspiration. There should be inspiration for you guys to check out every new release daily. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.